Imagine walking past a schoolyard one morning. A group of kids is laughing. Nothing seems strange until you hear the same words again and again. 6, 7. One child says it first, another child repeats it. Then a whole group turns and moves their hands up and down as if everyone understands the same joke. But when you ask what it means, every child gives the same answer. I don't know. It's just 6, 7. It sounds like a normal meme, one of those nonsense phrases kids say because it makes adults confused. But what if, one day, researchers discovered something strange? What if some children started saying it even though they had never seen the videos, never opened TikTok, never watched the original clip, never heard the song? And what if their brainwaves flickered in the same rhythm every time they heard the words 6, 7? Would it still be just a joke? This story is fictional. It is not a real claim about a real meme. But we can use it as a door into a stranger question. What if a meme did not live only on the internet? What if it was a signal that children's brains responded to together? Who would be sending that signal? And why would adults hear nothing at all? Everything begins with two ordinary numbers, 6 and 7. There is nothing magical about them. But the human brain never treats numbers as only numbers. We remember birthdays, passwords, phone numbers, license plates. And sometimes we remember a number with no meaning at all because it gets stuck in the mind like a piece of music. Psychologists call this kind of loop an earworm, a short sound, phrase, or melody that repeats inside your head. But a normal earworm usually has a tune, a rhythm, something the brain can hold on to. 6, 7 is strange because it almost means nothing, but it is unusually easy to remember. 2 beats, up, then down. It ends and it can begin again immediately, like a code that does not need to explain itself. One child says it, another child laughs, not because they understand the meaning, but because they understand this is ours. For children, the things adults do not understand can become a safe place, a secret word, a secret language, a little doorway into the group. If an adult asks what it means and the child says, I don't know, maybe that is not a failure. Maybe the not knowing is part of the joke. But in our fictional story, something is wrong. The first school to notice the pattern is in a small town.
Teachers report that several classes of younger kids begin saying 6, 7 at the same time. Not only during recess, during tests, during lunch, some whisper it before sleep. Parents assume it came from the internet, so they take away phones, turn off tablets, disconnect Wi-Fi. But that night, the same children mutter in their sleep, 6, 7. At first, everyone laughs. It sounds too silly to be frightening. But the problem begins when children who do not know one another in different cities and different countries start saying the same thing at almost the same time. No shared video, no shared teacher, not even the same language. Some children do not say 6, 7. They say it in their own language, 6, 7. Say 7, roku, nana. But the rhythm is the same. One rise, one fall. Then both hands move like a scale that cannot find balance. Researchers begin collecting data. They play the phrase 6, 7 to children while measuring brain activity. The result is strange. The part of the brain most connected to language is not the strongest response. Instead, the strongest signals appear in areas connected to rhythm, prediction, and imitation. In simple words, the brain is not asking, what does this mean? The brain is asking, when do I say it back? That is what makes memes powerful. A meme does not need to be logical. It only needs to be easy enough to repeat and strange enough to notice. Children are built for this. Children learn by imitation. They copy sounds, copy gestures, copy the emotions of people around them. If one child laughs, another child is more likely to laugh. If one child says a weird word and gets attention, others will try it too. This is not stupidity. This is how humans learn. But the same learning system, if it meets a signal designed too well, could spread like fire. In our story, researchers call it a mimetic trigger, not a virus in the body, a virus in attention. It does not hijack cells, it hijacks a few seconds in your mind. The first time you hear it, you are confused. The second time, you are annoyed. The third time, you repeat it as a joke. And once you say it out loud, you become another transmitter. The frightening part is that resistance does not stop it. The more adults say, don't say that, the more powerful the phrase feels. The more schools ban it, the more it becomes a secret language. The more news reports mention it, the farther it travels. It is like trying to put out a fire with oxygen.
Then, one night, a girl says something that changes the story. She tells her mother, "I don't want to say it. I hear it first." Her mother asks, "Hear it from where?" The girl points to the corner of the room. There is no phone there, no speaker, no person, only a small orange nightlight blinking slowly. Her mother thinks it was a dream, until she notices the blinking pattern. 6 flashes, pause. 7 flashes, pause. Then it starts again. This is where our story leaves real science and walks into analog horror. Think about the world around you. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, radio waves, satellites, LED lights blinking faster than your eyes can notice, screens refreshing dozens of times every second. We live inside an ocean of signals, but we only see the surface. What if a signal was not made for the ear? What if it was made for a child's brain to catch the rhythm? Adults might hear nothing because their brains have already passed that stage. Like high-frequency sounds that some teenagers can hear, while many adults cannot. What if the words 6, 7 are only the shell? What if the real signal is in the rhythm, in the gap, in the waiting for the next number to arrive? 6 holds the brain in place, 7 releases it, then it loops. The question is, who wants it to loop? In our fictional case, one group of researchers finds another detail. Children who say 6, 7 often begin turning toward the same direction without noticing. Not north, not toward a phone, toward an old signal tower on the edge of town. The tower had been shut down decades earlier. It was built during an emergency alert experiment, a system designed to make people react instantly when they heard a warning. Take shelter, turn off lights, stay indoors, do not go outside. But the project was canceled, the documents disappeared, the tower was abandoned, and nobody cared about it anymore, until children began repeating 2 numbers, 6, 7. In an old file, researchers find one line, Protocol 67, signal test for school-age brains, objective, create group response without language. That is the disturbing part. If a command does not need language, you do not need to understand it to follow it. A marching song can make a crowd walk in rhythm. A ticking clock can make a quiet room feel tense. A notification sound can make your hand reach reader phone before you think. Humans like to believe they are rational, but the body responds to signals first.
The children in the story are not controlled like robots. They still laugh, still play, still live normal lives. But sometimes it is as if someone knocks on a door inside the mind, and the only answer that comes out is 6, 7. Adults split into 2 groups. One group says, "Stop panicking, it is just a kid joke." The other group asks, "If it is just a joke, why do children who never met use the same gesture? Why do some say it in their sleep? Why do security cameras show children in several schools stopping at exactly 6:07? Not every day, but often enough to feel wrong. The town begins making rules. No videos containing the phrase 6-7 in school. No hand gesture in classrooms. No news broadcasts repeating the phrase. But every rule makes the phrase more valuable. Forbidden things often become the things children most want to test, and the internet never truly deletes anything. People make parody videos, remixes, characters with strange faces who can only say the phrase, horror edits, games. The same signal is wrapped in new costumes, like seeds stuck to shoes carried across the whole world, from meme to legend, from legend to ritual, from ritual to something nobody remembers the beginning of. That is the dark side of internet culture. We do not only watch content. Content trains us. It trains us to stop in the first second, to wait for the punchline, to remember short sounds, to repeat before understanding. And children learn faster than anyone, not because they are weak, because they are more open to the world than adults. For adults, nonsense is noise. For children, nonsense can be a key to friendship, a key to laughter, a key to the feeling that says, I belong to this moment. From a scientific point of view, this story does not need a demon. It does not need aliens. It does not need a real secret project. The human brain, the internet, and the desire to belong are already enough to create something that feels like control. But as a horror story, the question remains, why 6 and 7? Why not other numbers? In the final note of one researcher, he writes, 6 is the number of repetitions the child brain needs to recognize a pattern. 7 is the moment the pattern becomes expectation. On the 6th time, you know it is coming.
On the seventh time, you wait for it yourself. And when you wait for something, you have already opened the door. After that, the researcher disappears. The last file on his computer is a short video. A dark room.
Breathing. The camera points at a brainwave monitor. The line jumps. 6 times. Pause. 7 times. Pause. Then children's voices come from the speakers, even though the computer is not connected to the internet. 6. 7. The next morning, schools across the city are unusually quiet. The children have not stopped saying it. They have only started saying it more softly, as if they know adults are listening now. When an adult walks by, the children smile. They raise their hands up and down slowly, then ask, "Did you hear it yet?" This is where the fictional story should end. But the real question remains. Every generation has words adults do not understand. Every generation has laughter that sounds meaningless from the outside. But this generation is different. Memes do not travel only from mouth to mouth in a playground. They travel through algorithms. They are edited, accelerated, made louder, given faces, given fear, sent to 1,000,000 children in one night. So even if 6-7 is only a joke, it still teaches us something. Meaningless things can have more influence than things we can explain. Because people do not share only what they understand. People share what they feel, what makes them laugh, what makes them confused, what makes them want to belong, or what makes them feel that something is hidden underneath. If one day you hear children say 6-7, you might laugh, you might get annoyed, or you might quietly ask yourself, is this phrase traveling through the children, or are the children traveling through the phrase? And if you ever hear it in your own head when you are alone, do not say it out loud yet. Count it first. If it stops at 6, do not wait for 7.